Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Old Warlock podcast.
Podcast number 3.
Podcast number 3. Well, technically number 2. Episode 2.
Technically number 3, but
Episode 2.
from the way we number them, it's episode 2.
Pilot episode.
You're right.
2. But yeah, anyway, third iteration of the Old Warlock podcast. I am Alex.
I'm Jim.
And, to start off today, maybe kind of an explanation about what's going on, where we've been, things that have been going on in our life.
What has been happening here?
Well, you may have noticed there was a wealth of content and information coming your guys' way for a while there, for just after Christmas.
Well, as far as us.
For
us, it was a lot of content.
I don't know about the rest of you guys, but we were putting out some things, a lot of stuff with the podcast, new podcast, YouTube channel, and then silence. Nothing for a while. And that, unfortunately, is because my brother and I had to go back to school. So there's going to be it's going to be maybe a little bit more irregular when content gets released for you guys, but we are still doing our level best to get things released to you on a somewhat regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're doing our best here, but
it's the way the cookie crumbles.
What we're trying to do is record a lot of things on the same day, so that we have multiple content. So you'll see us wearing the same clothes. It's not because we don't have any other clothes to wear. It's because we're filming this all on the same day.
I mean, we don't have many clothes either, but
that's by choice.
Yeah, we live a
frugal life,
a frugal lifestyle.
But yeah, aside from that, not a lot happening. We're hoping to play online with Marcus and Cody. You tired there? Late night?
You know it.
No, I don't. I'm in bed by 9.
Responsible.
Yeah. But we're hoping to have a game with Marcus and Cody online because they're in different parts of the country right now, but they wanted to make sure they continued with the adventure that we'd started, which I think is great. Absolutely.
For a refresher, Marcus and Cody being the guys that we told the story about last time, Cody singing the song, those guys, my friends.
Did you talk to Marcus or to Cody about singing the song for us on the podcast?
Oh, I don't know if I did. I think I did, actually. I think we discussed it briefly, and he's more than willing to do it.
Seriously?
Yeah. Come on, it's Cody.
That's Cody. That's true. Okay. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get we should have him. We should have him record it and release it on iTunes.
That's what's going to have to happen. And then I would just love to see, for the sake of seeing, how many people we could actually get to download.
Yeah, how many people? I mean, we'd probably make it free on.
Oh yeah. Just for fun, or make it like 50 cents and give all the money to charity or something like that.
That could be really funny.
That would be a fun.
And we could get Marcus to write the backing music for it.
Well, yeah. See, you got to understand, Marcus is a music major. He wants to be a music teacher. That's why he's away right now. Is he's off doing his student teaching.
Yeah.
So,
but no, that would be. Let us know what you guys think. If you want to hear this song,
it's time for a poll
in its entire glory. I think it is. You guys remember the magnificent poll from last time where no one knew what our podcast was?
I still don't think that they do, but
yeah, But we'll throw one up there, and you guys let us know what you think.
But aside from that, what's going on? Anything? I can't think of anything too different.
Nothing really. I'm just reading books a lot.
Yeah. I'm just, here's the thing. I just retired recently.
Yeah, you did. Look at you.
And so guess what that allows me to go and do? Am I out painting the house or dealing with deferred maintenance that's been building up over the past 10 years? No. What I'm doing is investigating Dungeons and Dragons, RPG history. I'm doing the important stuff now that I'm retired and I don't have to. You're contributing
to culture.
Human
culture.
I am contributing to the continuation of gaming culture, which I think is an underrated field of study.
I'm telling you, I still think you should write a book about
it. I'm retired now. I can do that kind of thing.
Exactly. You've got the time.
Yeah,
sit down.
Exactly.
I'll buy you a typewriter.
Is my voice sounding really kind of scratchy? I feel like I'm losing my voice here.
Sounds fine to me. No scratchier than usual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
We wanted to do a quick public service announcement.
We did. We for this podcast episode, we've made a discovery that if we take a Bluetooth speaker, those of you watching will see me holding said Bluetooth speaker, and we hold it up to the microphone, we can get really high quality sound effects if we play them off of his iPad.
I have this great app.
We've made a video about
we
this.
We did
app.
a video about it. It's called RPG Sounds Fantasy, and it's basically a soundboard for sound effects for your RPG game. And we can do things like, go ahead, say something important.
Yeah, I think personally that The Lord of the Rings is a paradigm shifting bit of fiction. Thank you. Thank you very much. See?
Now, if you weren't watching the video on YouTube, or weren't watching the podcast on YouTube, you would think that we just had a house full of people.
Absolutely.
But we don't.
We do not. It's just the two of us, alone in the basement.
Except for the people who are nearby in the quiet tavern. Or, and we could get into trouble for doing this, but we're going to do it anyway.
Well, here's what I'll say. If we do get in trouble for this and it ends up being stricken somehow, there's about to be a long period of silence.
Where we'll have these excited looks on our faces, but
None
you
of
won't
you,
hear a thing.
We'll figure out something visual to do to entertain you in the meantime.
Because we can also pretend as though we're making this podcast from a medieval battle that's taking place nearby with really cool atmospheric music.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Sorry, that was a tavern. Here's the battle. So you're either going to not hear anything right now except my voice, or you'll hear some really cool battle music that we play whenever we play D&D. I think that we could actually make it out that we're doing a review of that music, and that would allow it to be legal.
Okay, then let's do a review of that music. That music
is great.
Is good.
I have been playing with that music this is called the Anvil of Crom, that song. If you heard it, and of course this will be meaningless again if you didn't hear that because we've broken some copyright restriction.
Yeah.
But the Anvil of Crom from the first Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan the Barbarian music, Conan the Barbarian film. We've been using that soundtrack whenever I play D&D now for almost, 30 years.
Yeah, since long before I was born.
And you've been playing with it ever since you started playing the game.
Absolutely. That is the quintessential, boy, you hear those drums, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you don't have the chance to hear what we just put up there because YouTube bans us.
Got mad
and snipped that out somehow through their YouTube magic.
Yeah.
I highly recommend going on YouTube. I highly recommend going to iTunes or whatever music service you use.
Yeah.
And look up Conan the Barbarian Anvil of Crom.
It's a magnificent thing.
And listen to it, and it will fit the battle sequences of your D&D or whatever campaign, whatever style RPG campaign, whatever you're running. Anvil of Crom from Conan the Barbarian original soundtrack will work well for you.
Quite the work of music.
Let's listen to it one more time.
Okay, do you want to?
Let's do this one more time.
Once again, might be silence, but we'll see.
Should we do the battle as well, or should we just do the song?
Just do the music. Let people bask in its magnificence.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just hear those low brass.
It's just fantastic. And for those of you who are familiar with the original Conan the Barbarian movie, we just got done doing a YouTube video about where we've gotten inspiration.
We did. About an hour ago.
And one of the things that I think we forgot to mention was we did talk about the music. Tired, aren't you?
I just can't breathe.
Oh, that's not a good thing.
It's not ideal.
That's really kind of a bad idea.
No.
One of the things that we did talk about was the music from the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack. But we didn't talk about the actual movie itself.
No.
And I got to be honest with you, that was one of the inspirations that I had back in 1980. I want to say it was 1982 that movie came out. And to me, it was a Dungeons and Dragons movie. I mean, they go in.
Well, it's because it is.
It is. I mean, it's sword and sorcery, guys with swords and painted up really crazily for camouflage, going in and stealing stuff. I mean, it was complete Dungeons and Dragons movie for us. So that was another big inspiration, I guess. If you watch the YouTube video and you're listening to the podcast as well, that's a bonus feature. That's a bonus it's a bonus inspiration for you to hear about my love of the Conan the Barbarian movie.
See, I mean, I've never watched the whole thing. I've seen the exciting parts, the big fight.
It is
parts,
all
basically.
exciting. There is no not exciting part.
Okay, that's fair. But my main frame of reference is Conehead the Barbiturate from
from Don Martin,
from the Don Martin comics. He has
Mad Magazine comics. Yeah,
he has the complete collection of the Don Martin Mad Magazine comics.
It's what I do.
Yeah, and I when I was a kid, I used to read them all the time. I didn't understand half of them.
They just had funny pictures.
Yeah, they just had funny pictures. But that's I always remember his recurring Conehead the Barbiturate coming back. And, yeah.
Not a real D&D inspiration there.
No,
but still,
I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's just funny stuff. But anyway, we're getting off track. Of course, we don't really have a track on these.
We never have a track. We just start talking.
No. So anyway, but back to the public service announcement. We wanted to let you know that sadly, probably for you, I have access to the RPG Sounds Fantasy Atmosphere Library.
No. You're welcome for what you're going to experience.
Well, we should do a poll on that as well.
We're just going to start
shut
off
off the
polls.
Stupid 40 polls for the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of them is going to have to be keep your finger off of the iPad sound effects during the course of your.
But I mean, while we're talking about the soundboard, go back on the main YouTube channel, not this one, but the official Old Warlock video channel. It's kind of before. It's pre-50th subscriber celebration, so it's before we made it before the majority of you got here. But I still think it's something that would be worth.
Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
Would be worth checking out. Very cool.
You need to go back into our earlier videos.
Wow.
Yeah. That's right.
It's like they're going back.
That's right. And you'll find all kinds of really
to the past.
That's what I was going for.
Look at that.
And you will find something that I'm sure you're going to like.
Now, to the three of you who are left still listening at this point, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate your undying support.
Or the fact that you can't find your phone and it's playing over a loudspeaker somehow and you don't know how to turn us off.
Turn it off. The accidental YouTube suggestion that you got.
Or your kid has taken your phone and hit it in a cushion someplace and you can't find it no matter how hard you look.
I mean, you know how there's autoplay on YouTube? Just imagine somebody fell asleep watching like a legitimate YouTuber and then
woke up to us.
God forbid. They wake up and there's you playing Anvil of Crom loudly into a microphone. What have I come into?
What have I started? What have I done?
Is this?
What have I done? Well, but we should move on to some actual legitimate content here.
Yeah.
We're going to, just to kind of lay it out, we're going to stick with some of the things that people seem to enjoy. We're going to be taking a look at a monster out of the Monster Manual, the original AD&D Monster Manual. We'll be going and looking at something out of the Encyclopedia Magica, and we'll be talking about a couple of other things as well. What do you think we should start with?
Well, I'm going to leave that in your court. You've got a list over there. He's written down some things that he would like to discuss.
I'm retired. I've been digging into stuff.
Yeah.
So
just let her rip with some of that. Well, remember, we have to save some content.
Oh,
because we're because of our limited time together, we're recording. We're gonna record 2 at once. Two. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Quiet. These are on 2 separate days. Right.
Forgot.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. Okay, but no, I can do that. I've got a lot of content here.
You've got a lot of time.
I have a lot of time on my hands. Well, actually, I don't, because I spend so much important time digging into D&D history.
Again, for the people.
That's my goal.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't make any difference what my wife thinks. This is all important stuff, and the house can be painted at a later time.
That's what I'm here for.
Exactly.
That's why you have 2 sons.
Well, that's right. That's right. Speaking of which, where did Zachary go?
I don't know. He went off somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let's start off. Let's start with the monster.
Start with the monster.
We
do love our monster discussion. So again, what we're going to do to remind you guys who haven't been here, if you're new, welcome. I'm sorry. We're going to choose a random monster out of the original Advanced Dungeons and Dragons monster manual, and we are going to discuss it, what we think about it, our experiences, memories that we may have with
or
it.
Surprises. Maybe it's something we've never used.
Who's to say? But we're about to find out, and it's going to be completely random. So here we go. Flipping, stopping, pointing.
What do you got?
A hippopotamus.
Should we maybe do another one? No. This is what came up. We need to talk about the hippopotamus.
I think we should talk about it. We could maybe toss in another one here because it's a pretty short. I'm going to be honest. I've read this book many times, and I do not remember the hippopotamus.
I think I kind of skip over the giraffe and the hippopotamus and things like that.
All right. Hippopotamus. Frequency. Uncommon, much like in reality. Number appearing 2 to 12. Armor class 6. Hit dice 8.
Whoa.
Good God.
But
most dangerous animal in the world.
It's exactly right. And so maybe Gygax and the boys understood that, this should be a very heavy hit dice monster.
Sit down to play D&D, ready to fight some hobgoblins or something. No.
Hippo wanders out.
There's just a 12 hippos charging.
12 hippos come out.
Yeah. As their name implies, hippopotami are found in rivers and lakes of tropical regions. They are herbivores, but they will aggressively defend their own territory. Hippo bites with exceedingly strong jaws, and a bull will do 3 to 18 points of damage per attack. 1 to 3 bulls in a herd, 1 for every 4. If a boat or canoe passes over submerged hippopotami, there's a 50% chance that a bull will emerge under it and flip the craft over. Hippopotami travel underwater by running along the bottom, which is kind of terrifying.
It really is.
They're just like jogging along the bottom of a river.
Well, we've seen hippos at the museum.
Yeah.
And you gotta imagine that you see them kind of waddling around on land, and you're thinking, oh, geez, why is this the most dangerous creature
out
there?
What's going on here?
But then when they go wander into the water and disappear,
it's kind of terrifying.
It's eerie.
Yeah,
it's kind of a scary thing. And then if they just kind of casually bump into you or glob onto you with their mouths and take you underwater, you ain't getting away.
That's it.
It's big, powerful creatures.
Lastly, they can stay submerged for 15 minutes, which is kind of disconcerting.
It is.
But there you go. Hippopotami in D&D.
Now, this is probably, out of all the times that we've done this, twice, this is the third time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change that monster a bit.
That's true. I think that's fair. Yeah, 3 to 18. It seems pretty reasonable.
I'm all for the hippo as written.
Basically, regular guy in D&D has maybe 8 hit points, something like that.
Sure, 6, 8.
One bite from a hippo can pretty much cleave him in two. That seems about right.
So I'm good with the hippo.
So honestly, round of applause.
What did you say? A round of applause?
I did. To Gary Gygax and everybody for coming up with such an accurate representation of an animal.
Yes,
very much put in the game. So well done, big fans. Should we do another one that's maybe a little more monstery?
Yeah, okay. I think we probably should.
Why not? All right. Again, flipping. All right, pointing. We have the here we go. Here we go. We have the Sphinx.
Oh, nice.
The Sphinx is fun, but specifically the Hippos Sphinx.
Let me see.
This one.
Sure.
There are different varieties of Sphinx. Okay, so you've got the Andro Sphinx, the Cryo Sphinx, the Gyno Sphinx, and the Gyno Sphinx, I guess. Gyno Sphinx and the Hippos Sphinx, which is the hawk-headed or Hippos Sphinx. I don't know. Is evil and rapacious. Rapacious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm educated. They are found in hilly regions. They prey on warm-blooded creatures by preference, humans being high on their list of favorite meals.
Nice.
They attack with 4 paws and beak each melee round. Like other types of their race, they highly value treasure. It is not unknown for Sphinxes. I've pronounced that like 4 different ways now. To serve
Which
as
one of them's got to be right.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully.
Just hedging my bets.
That's right.
To serve as steeds for certain evil and powerful creatures.
Nice.
Interesting.
Nice.
I'm going to be honest. I've never heard of this before.
I'm
sure I've seen it reading through this, but I've never thought about it really.
And I got to say, I've had Sphinxes in my campaign. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever had that one.
I think the one time I've encountered a Sphinx, I think there was once that I came across one in your campaign.
Yeah. I think you might be right.
And I think it was just the regular old Andro Sphinx.
Right. Well, what do they have as far as hit points and stuff?
For the Hippos Sphinx, which is how I've decided to pronounce this, the frequency is rare. There's 1 to 6 appearing. Armor class is 1. Hit dice is 9, which is actually lower than the other ones. 3 attacks per round. Magical resistance is standard. Intelligence is low for these guys.
Nice.
So they're the dumb spirits, but they're also chaotic evil. Interesting. So,
and what was the hit dice again?
Hit dice is 9. And the Andro Sphinx is 12.
And what kind of damage do they do?
Let's see. Damage attack is 2 to 8, 2 to 8, 1 to 10.
It's not bad.
No, I mean per round. That's a pretty dangerous looking fella.
That's another monster I do not think I would change.
No, I mean I think it's it's not in as a plot device. It's in as I think it's meant to accompany something bad.
Right.
So
it's basically a steed for something.
Yeah, it's just the
down to
dangerous speed that can bite you. So again,
not a bad monster.
Not a bad monster at all.
I'm good with that one.
Good work.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
there's your monster.
If you have used, as always, if you've used the Cairo Sphinx, was it?
Hippos Sphinx.
That one.
The one that we just talked about.
If you've used that Sphinx in some interesting, cool way or used it at all, let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about it. Or any Sphinx.
Yeah.
Just let us know your experiences.
Do you think that Sphinxes are good creatures you shouldn't use?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know what you think.
Because they are not really something that I use very often at all.
No, it seems like things that are more traditionally found in other mythologies, you don't really like to incorporate into things.
Unless the milieu that I am dropping them into, creeping people into, unless it's appropriate.
Education.
There. So if you go to a desert setting in my campaign, and there are several, there is one of them on a continent that you have only visited once, I believe. There would be a place for sphinxes because it has a definite Egyptian.
Was it the one with the Mountain
feel.
of Sorrows?
No, it was not. Totally different continent, totally different place. You might get there someday. Then again, you might not.
I don't know. I'm thinking. See, he does this thing where I've only ever seen the complete world map
once,
maybe 5 times in total over the course of my life, and it's basically just been when you're like making photocopies of it.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, Dad, can I see that?
Get away from that. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I'm like 9, so he decides, yeah, sure, son. Now he's not going to show me.
No.
You've,
to be honest, if you want to see those things, you've got to go explore it.
I've got to get out there.
You've got to find it, and it makes it that much more cool when you actually go there. If it's a voyage of discovery, that makes it that much better.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
My fear, not my fear, but my concern is that I will part this earthly being's coil long before you ever get to adventure there, and then you're just going to be able to open up the books and start going through them and go, oh, Dad had this and this and this, and that's going to make me really mad from wherever I am.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
You'll come back and haunt me.
Exactly. I'll come back.
Yeah. Make full use of the
undead
concepts. Mechanic.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
That's a shameless plug for another video. Go check it out.
Anyway,
that one also got people pretty riled up.
You know, that's been one of our most popular videos.
We have 2 videos that really get people fired up about Dungeons and Dragons.
And by fired up, it's fired up for us. I mean, I mean, we don't turn the numbers like a lot of people do, but in our context, that's one of the 2.
Yeah, of our controversial videos that people don't say mean things to us very often.
No, and I got to say that that's been one of the cool things is even when people do say mean things, they're not really very mean.
It's not like, hey, you guys are wastes of carbon.
Right. It's more, I just disagree with you very, very much, and you guys shouldn't think that way.
But have a nice day.
Yeah.
And that's it.
We have actually had some like that.
Yeah.
People have gone on
like, you're wrong, here's X, Y, and Z, but
but we like your videos and please make more.
You guys seem nice.
Okay, well, fine, and that's cool.
Yeah,
that's actually what I really like about it.
Thank you for not cyberbullying us.
Yeah.
That was a big thing when I was in junior high school, cyberbullying.
Not that it would affect us in any way, shape, or form.
The few times that people have done that, we think it's funny.
Yeah, it's more amusing.
Okay, that's not an encouragement to go say
definitely
swear words on our, yeah.
Well, in fact, if you I hate to sound, like we're trying to run a G-rated YouTube channel, but we kind of are.
I mean, we really, yeah.
I want somebody's kids to be able to sit down and hear what's going on, and dad not having to be sitting there worrying if we're going to start talking about something that they should be talking about with their child rather than us. So we do try to keep it clean.
We keep it clean.
If you start swearing at us on things, we're just going to ban you from the channel. But I mean, you have to, aside from just swearing and being really kind of wretched, we're going to let you say pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, say whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you think we're dumb, you can tell us.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt.
You're probably right.
Well, they would. That's the thing. I hate to argue with truth.
Well said, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you recognized it. But generally, a lot of our conversations. It's funny because I don't get notifications for conversations that are happening after someone has submitted a comment to us.
No, me neither.
So I'll go in and check them from time to time, and I'll find that there's been a conversation between 8 different people arguing with each other, but I never know that the conversation's taking place.
When you're replying to each other, we only get notified when you first comment, or if you mention us afterwards, you say at Old Warlock.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun to go through the wealth of comments that you guys leave on things. It makes us happy to know that you care so much about this stuff.
Exactly. And as long as it's giving you food for thought, and I don't care which side of the subject you come down on, as long as it's making you have a conversation about something that you're interested in, it's good stuff.
Great.
But moving on. Let's come back to the random magical item.
The book for a later time.
And let's talk about some of my research into old school stuff.
Okay.
Or kind of old school stuff. I get a lot of notifications from Drive-Thru-RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go in there, and I encourage you to do this because it's interesting. You never know what's going to pop up in your inbox. But one of the things that I've done is I've chosen to have Drive-Thru-RPG contact me anytime something new appears on their website. And for those of you who don't know what Drive-Thru-RPG is, it's a website where you can download all kinds of really good stuff. You can get OSR products, you can get 3D printing products, you can get 5e products. There are people out there who have done things for D&D 3.5, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu.
Can I interject very briefly?
Sure.
If we don't know anything about Pathfinder,
we really don't.
In particular.
No.
If you guys would like to see us learn about Pathfinder and share our journey with you,
that's a good idea.
Please tell us. That's something we've been considering because, we really do know nothing about it.
And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
If you guys are interested, let us know.
Yeah. We could all learn together. It could be a community experience.
Or we could learn about it and then you could correct us on what we get wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Call us stupid for not figuring out Pathfinder properly.
I mean, I've read some on it, but it seems to be popular, especially with the people that are watching our videos. It seems to be very popular.
Yeah,
popular system.
When people have criticisms of AD&D, they usually say Pathfinder does this well.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested in watching us delve deeply into Pathfinder, maybe we could make an entire podcast about it.
All right. There's poll number 3 that we're going to have to put out now.
See, we know how to make these polls now, so we're doing anything we can to find a way to make use of the technology.
We think they're way more fun than they are.
It doesn't take much to amuse us.
No.
But anyway, where was I? Drive-Thru-RPG. So I get notifications. You go in and you can select the different subject matter that you're interested in hearing about, and then they'll send you an email saying, "Hey, these are products that are coming up. Maybe they've just gone on sale. Maybe they're brand new."
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I ended up having, for some reason, come to my inbox was reference to a magazine called the Oubliette, and it's a fanzine called the Oubliette, and it came out in 2010.
So not that long ago. In terms of how fanzines, the ones we've discussed. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's well past kind of that golden era of fanzines for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. And
as near as I can tell, most of the Oubliette was created for Labyrinth Lord. Which is it's an OSR product. It's a very good system. I really like it a lot. But
that's the one with the models and the twisting bases, right?
No. Labyrinth Lord is actually just another D&D style RPG.
Okay.
It's made on the Open Gaming license.
Okay.
So, but you're thinking of something else.
I
can picture it in my head, but I don't remember what those things are called.
Sorry,
we've got a whole box of them.
Continue.
Anyway, being the guy who loves fanzines, because if you get into the right ones, you can tease out a lot of really cool history, get a really good understanding of what was taking place in RPG style play at a given point in time. Mm-hmm. And so I thought I would buy one of these issues of the Oubliette, and it was really cheap, so I thought I'd pick it up. The Oubliette, at the end of the day, there were only 8 editions of it that came out between 2010 and 2012, and that's the way a lot of these fanzines worked. People would get all excited about them and then finally realize, this is an awful lot of work. And then when you don't get a lot of feedback and you don't sell a lot of copies of it, it just kind of tends to fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
But the Oubliette came out from April 2010 into the summer of 2012. It was a great little magazine, and it was mostly focused on Labyrinth Lord. But there were other things in there that were since it's Labyrinth Lord, it's very easily translated into other old school Renaissance type games. And then they came back and they put another one out in, and if you guys who are looking at me through the YouTube video of the podcast, you can see me looking over here at my notes. So that's discreetly hidden. That's why I'm staring off over here into space. One of the 9th edition was created 3 years later, in the spring of 2015, and as near as I can tell, those were the only years that the Oubliette was published. Now it described itself as a magazine for old school RPGers, and that's what caught my attention. That's the reason I went after it. Mm-hmm. The publisher was a man by the name of Peter Regan. I want to say that it was Reagan. And it was put together by Gold Piece Publications. And Gold Piece Publications, they still seem to make things that you can find on DriveThruRPG. So you might want to go check them out. But where I'm heading with this is it was kind of a standard RPG magazine, fanzine. And I'm going to pull it up real quick here. I'm not going to run through all of these. There's only one point I want to focus on, but I'll give you an overview of the things from the magazine.
Love the cover.
Well, and see, that's actually one of the cool things about this. And I'll try and throw up this cover on the YouTube video, although that might be hard to do, but I'm going to try it.
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
But these are all hand-drawn in that kind of rough artwork style that you found on RPG fanzines back in the 1970s and 80s. So I mean, that caught my attention right there. But there is something called the Halfling Proof Fence, which is an adventure for Labyrinth Lord. And all that is you have a bunch of, the scenario is that you have a bunch of hobbits that have been held prisoner by a bunch of goblins. The goblins have decided that they want to kill the halflings, so they release the halflings, and then the adventure is you as a goblin trying to hunt down the halflings as they try to make their escape. Kind of interesting.
Sounds kind of depressing.
A little bit.
You're just murdering hobbits.
I just don't think I would involve myself in that one, but somebody might.
Yeah,
and it has it has maps and it has all kinds of things.
It's creative. I just don't know if I'm a hobbit murderer.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
There is a thing there's something in here called Inheritance. It's a fantasy campaign setting. There's a section on improvised traps. There is original fiction. There are reviews. There is developing house rules for Labyrinth Lord, sample house rules for Labyrinth Lord, alternative subdual rules for Labyrinth Lord, and the list goes on. But what I wanted to focus on was something called...
Keep talking.
Okay. We may have had our audio come to a stop over here. I fear for the worst.
No, we're good.
It's still recording.
It's good.
Okay. You're sure of that?
Yes. Yeah.
It's just changed scale?
Yeah.
On the computer screen? Okay. I guess we're good to go. The thing that I wanted to focus on was one section in here called Good Shop, Bad Shop. And to me, this was the best part of this particular edition of this publication. And they list it as good shop, bad shop, a regular feature highlighting unusual retail establishments which offer useful, bizarre, and sometimes dangerous goods and services.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I want to go into this, and I'm going to go into it in a little bit of depth, is because I love this concept of bizarre shops.
Oh, yeah.
I have in my campaign for a couple of decades, I've had a shop called Brandy Buck's Emporium. And Brandy Buck's Emporium, I don't think that you have ever seen it. Have you seen it?
I haven't, but okay, Brandy Buck's, keep explaining it, and then I want to see if it's what I think it is.
Okay. Well, Brandy Buck's Emporium is something that I came up with, probably 25, maybe 30 years ago. And what it is it's a shop that will appear if the right set of circumstances lend themselves to its appearance. Mm-hmm. So, and what has to happen is you, as a character, and none of my characters have ever known this, and so I'm letting the cat out of the bag here. So I'm going to have to change the entire way that this works.
I'm going to do this right out of the gate. Yeah.
That's it. Brandy Buck's Emporium. There is a 3% chance that the Emporium will appear wherever you are if you say, or one of the party members say, I wish I'd bought this when we were back in town. Or, geez, I meant to buy one of those. Anything along those lines, there's a 3% chance that it's going to appear. Now, I went back and counted up, and I think that Brandy Buck's Emporium in 30 years, essentially, has only appeared 3 times.
Really?
Yeah. And
those are some kind of wild dice rolls then.
Right. And so that's the thing. And I've rolled for it many times because a lot of people have been in that situation
I'm
where
sure
they say,
I've said that.
Oh, geez, I wish I had wish I'd purchased a flask of oil, or I wish that I had bought a grappling hook, or, whatever. It's appeared 3 times. And I can remember when it did. One time was on the 3rd level of a dungeon. It just was suddenly there. One time, there's one that's even better as far as I'm concerned. One time it just showed up in a town, just at the end of the block. Yeah, boom, there it was. The other time it showed up on a ship. And the great thing about it is that players are not sure what the heck to do when it appears.
Oh, I'm sure.
And the other thing about Brandy Buck's Emporium is that Brandy Buck he's a hobbit, as you might have guessed, but he will only sell you what he thinks you need.
Okay.
So you might be saying, I wish I'd bought 200 feet of rope and a grappling hook.
Uh-huh.
And suddenly, if you get the die roll correct, the shop appears, and first of all, you have to make the decision as to whether or not you're going to go into this magically appearing shop.
The magic building that just appeared in front of you.
But if you go inside and you look up on the wall, you might see that thing that you need.
Mm-hmm.
But Brandy Buck will not sell that to you. Brandy Buck only sells you something that he thinks you're going to need within the next 36 hours.
Interesting.
And the thing is, it's usually something really bizarre, like a set of bagpipes, or maybe it's a knife sharpener, or maybe it's, it could be any one of a variety of different things. And they're not cheap.
Oh, no.
And Brandy Buck also knows valuable items that you have with you, and he's willing to make a trade.
Interesting.
Now, one more thing about this and none of the players that have ever found Brandy Buck's Emporium have ever figured this out, and now they never get the chance to because I have to change the rules. But if you ask for things in Brandy Buck's Emporium, if the entire party asks for something, they don't have to buy it, but Brandy Buck will offer them one thing that is going to help them in the next 36 hours. If everybody in the party does that, you can get a real good understanding of what kind of things you're going to have to deal with in the next 2 days.
Interesting.
But nobody's ever gone that far with it. Anyway, so Brent, you can see the kind of effort that I put into developing shops just because I think it's fun. Well, going back to this first copy of the Oubliette, in their good shop, bad shop section, there was something that I think is fantastic. And it is a shop called The Rentalist. And I'm going to have to read part of this because, there's just a lot of great detail on this. So The Rentalist from the Oubliette Volume 1 or Edition 1. 2010. Picture a fairly nondescript shop in a back street. It presents no windows to the street and has a sturdy oak door that suggests passing trade isn't part of the business plan. Even if passersby were curious, they would find the door locked. From the outside, the only thing that anyone might notice would be a small design on the door featuring a crossed quill and sword. The shop is in fact owned and run by a secretive figure known as the Rentalist. So if you go inside, if you manage to get inside the shop, what you will find is a room 15 by 20 feet. And it has several unlit candles along the walls, a large table, and 2 chairs. There are no doors other than the one through which you enter. The Rentalist offers a highly specialized magic item rental service. He only deals with customers that are vetted by his discreet network of local agents. When suitable customers are identified, they are given a card and told when and where to present it. For clients to be offered a card, they must satisfy a number of requirements. First, they must have available funds in cash gems equal to at least 1,000 gold pieces. Secondly, they must be in dire need of an artifact in order to complete a task.
Interesting.
Now, if a character presents the card, he will be introduced. This elderly gentleman will open the door. He will bring them inside. He'll listen to their story. He will listen with interest to any requirement or predicament with which the character needs assistance. Then he will ask for patience whilst he consults his records. Then he will come back out and say if he has something that can help or not. Now, based on the power of the item, the Rentalist will require a deposit of 1,000 gold pieces to 10,000 gold pieces, which is the first week's rent.
Whoa!
Yes. All fees, the rental period can be extended indefinitely, but if a payment is missed, there is, of course, a penalty. If a character is killed whilst in possession of an item, their soul is forfeit in lieu of the item. The items provided by the Rentalist.
Good Lord.
Oh yeah, this is good stuff. The items provided by the Rentalist are in fact non-magical versions of the item with enchantments placed on them to provide the magical effect for the duration of the hire period, or until the death of the renter. The penalty for they also have some other penalties for possible late payments. And then, we move on to the Rentalist provides a controlled way of incorporating immensely powerful magic into a campaign, but only on a temporary basis and at potentially great cost. So if you're running a game and you need to have someone have a very powerful magic item to get through a scenario that you set up, but you don't want that powerful magic item to be there to unbalance the campaign from there moving forward, this is a great way to introduce it into the game and then get it back.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that you've done with magical items before that are just incredibly powerful and contribute to the story in some way. But then, I mean,
if you were to continue to keep them, it would completely unbalance everything.
You'd be too powerful for the rest, and you wouldn't be scared of anything. But I think that's something that I probably wouldn't think of doing on my own, because I don't think of car rental basically in a medieval setting.
Right.
But I think that could be a really interesting thing to get to play around with.
I really like this idea.
Yeah.
This was for me. This was the high point of this particular copy of the Oubliette. I'm thinking about buying. They're selling all of them as like a bundle, and so I may go back in and see about buying the rest of them, because if just to get this good shop bad shop part of each one of these episodes or each one of these editions might be worth it to me. But anyway, I thought that I would bring that up. This description also has some rumors that you can throw out to talk to the players to give them some idea of who this person might be. And then there's some other things that some negative effects that come from not returning items or not returning items on time, things like that. So really a well thought out shop, The Rentalist.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it.
I think that's shops are kind of one of those things that maybe go by the wayside when people are thinking about it. But if you want, like we're always saying, if you want a vibrant world that's detailed and really gets your players engrossed, I think that's a great thing that you could throw in.
Well, I think you're right. I think that it's shops are generally, not always, but shops can very often just fall into that mundane category.
Yeah, magic shop,
Yeah.
food shop, blacksmith.
Right.
You know?
And you go and you buy your thing and you leave.
Yeah.
But this, just throwing that extra bit of something onto it or making that one shop stand out, it can really fire the imagination and make things seem that much more magical or mystical or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever word you're looking for. But good stuff.
Okay, so is Brandy Buck Billy's grandfather?
No.
No?
No.
Because that's also like a traveling building, right?
Right. That's a totally different thing. That's Ericus. What you're thinking about.
That's what it is. Okay.
Ericus has the staff of Ericus is the one that you can bang on the ground,
yes,
and then
'cause you
it'll
put
open the
it-
door
okay.
to go into his mansion. Yeah, that's a totally different one.
Okay.
No, Brandy Buck, that was the main name of Brian Tyson. I've told you about Brian. Brian used to play a Hobbit character in my world called Brandy Buck.
Wonder where he got that name.
I don't know. He was a Lord of the Rings fanatic. But anyway, when Brian was no longer with us, I was trying to think of a way to make sure that he could show up from time to time and still be in my campaign, be in my world. And so I thought, this would have been right up Brian's alley. And so it's he's also one of those those non-player characters that I have a template for to play
written
because
down
it's
somewhere.
because I know Brian, I know how Brian would have played this character, and so that's the way I play Brandy Buck whenever he's encountered.
All right, I'll have to figure out whatever the new password is to get that to show up.
Yeah, I've got to figure out a new way to have Brandy Buck's Emporium function.
Because that's a cool mechanic.
I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else are we talking about? How long have we been talking? I really don't know.
I really have no idea. When I looked up a little while ago, we were at 37 minutes. But I think that's
time
including
time
before
really
we
cruises.
really started going. We've been recording.
But time cruises when you're listening to your own voice because it sounds so cool. And when you have sound effects.
When you have so many fun sound effects.
So that's what I wanted to talk about with the Oubliette. Good stuff, good shop.
Yeah.
I think that deserves a
round of applause. Absolutely. Good job, Oubliette, for creating such a cool and fun component. To add to
Peter
your
Regan
D&D.
or Peter Regan.
Peter Regan / Regan.
Regan.
If you're listening, hey, we love the thing that you created. Please get in contact with us.
And again, that's most of the stuff from these old copies of the Oubliette, they are for Labyrinth Lord. So if you're a Labyrinth Lord player, you might want to check these out as well. They're just some fun ideas.
Yeah, just a thing to think about.
Right.
Well, what do you think?
I think we need to do a magic item.
Let's do a magic item here. Yeah, I've been flipping recently. Get in there.
Here we go. Do you want this?
Absolutely, I do. This is a lot of freedom that you've just given me.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit scary. I probably shouldn't give you that much power. All right. I'm going to get into... Here we go.
Oh, my God. There's so many. Okay. That was supposed to be an owl.
I'm not real impressed with that one.
No,
there are quite a few of the animals that I'm not impressed with.
Yeah, the animals have always seemed a little questionable. All right. Just continue. Ignore me.
Okay, there's one more. You know that one scream sound that appears in every movie?
Oh, yeah, like the Star Wars scream? I know that is in here somewhere.
That's actually in there.
Hold on, let me find it. I think it's in miscellaneous.
It's the something scream. That's not it.
That's just a guy screaming.
Anyway. While Alexander plays with the soundboard.
You are so welcome. For everybody who's listening in the car on their drive to work right now.
I'm going to open up the Encyclopedia Magica. Let's see, this is volume number. Which volume is this? This is volume 3. And I'm going to choose a random magic item to talk about.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, this is what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So, flip it over. Well, let's see. Flip it open, and we're going to talk about this item. Oh.
What do we got?
This is a Ring of Immunity.
Ooh, that's fun.
So let's see what the Ring of Immunity does. Boy, I want the thing right up above it, but I'm not going to talk about it because we may come back to it.
Oh,
yeah.
That is cool.
No. Anyway, the Ring of Immunity. Experience point value. And for those of you who are just joining us, this is out of the Encyclopedia Magica. Back in the 1990s, TSR put together a 4-volume set that contains every magical item that had ever been mentioned for D&D, or so they claim, up until the time of publication. And there are thousands of magical items inside these 4 volumes. And so I am the lucky owner of one set of these. Mm-hmm. But I think you can also get them as PDFs on DriveThruRPG.
I think you can. Even the PDFs aren't cheap, though, I don't think.
I just don't know. I've never had reason to buy them because
exactly,
I own the books.
You've got all 4.
But anyway, so that's where this is coming from. And whenever we do one of our podcasts, we like to just choose a random magical item out here. We probably ought to start doing, maybe the next one we do 2. Because I could live for 150 years and we'd never get through all these.
Yeah, because there are quite a few.
And there's some great ones. There's some ones, but there are also a lot of really cool ones.
Yeah.
Anyway, a Ring of Immunity. Experience point value for finding or gathering is 1,000. Gold piece value is 5,000. When this ring is worn, the wearer becomes immune to all diseases and infections. This includes magical curses such as lycanthropy and mummy rot. The character regains the maximum number of hit points per day from rest and is not bothered by fever or infection regardless of the level of activity. This ring is a simple silver circle and is another creation of the incarnations of Thoth.
That's actually really cool.
That's a powerful weapon. Powerful item to have.
Imagine you have one of those and you figure out how to manufacture a plague and just unleash it on people.
Now you're thinking.
There it is.
That's
now I'm thinking like a D&D.
There you go.
A true neutral D&D player.
There you go. You've had a hard time with that neutral thing.
God, I've recently gotten better.
Have you?
I think. I think I have. I've improved. Because my main character that I've always played in his world is it's a good guy.
Neutral good.
He's a superhero good guy who likes to help children and dangerous
old ladies
situations.
Across the streets.
Yeah, exactly. Because I started when I was 12, but now I'm like developing and I want to do more morally questionable things.
Explore the morally questionable decisions. That's right.
Exactly. We've talked about this. I'm a philosophy major. Exactly. I want to push the boundaries a little bit.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. But no, I think that's a really cool.
That's a good one.
That's a neat one.
But I love your addition on there saying come up with a plague and make everybody else subject to it and then wear the ring. But I would take it one step further.
Uh-huh.
I'd sell the cure. Anyway, just something to think about.
Interesting.
Sell the cure. If you want to be cured by this, I can walk into the plague-ridden town and I've got the solution right here, folks. But it's going to cost you.
It just reminds me that the Andy Griffith Show episode where the snake oil salesman shows up.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Good for what ails you.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't think I've ever encountered like some sort of disease or plague or something in D&D.
I usually don't run a lot of that unless you're involved in the siege of a location. Mm-mm. That's usually because, and you guys don't really spend a lot of time in large towns, things like that. So,
Yeah.
it's mostly when you're outdoors, the chances of getting something are really slim.
Yeah.
But, we can change that.
It's just, that's something, I think that's, and maybe another aspect of creating worlds that people don't necessarily think about quite as much.
I think so.
Yeah. Just more. I think that some things that are involved with realism get thrown by the wayside.
And I got to say that we do that.
We
toss things just if it's going to slow the game down too much, I just don't include it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
So
but interesting. Good magical item.
Good magical item there. So that's all I've got.
That's all I really have
at
too.
the moment. That's
maybe a little bit shorter of a podcast today.
I think so. Possibly because we're trying to get 2 of them done for your entertainment.
No. They will be recorded on separate days. Wink, wink.
Oh no, that's right.
Nudge,
right.
nudge.
We'll record this one next week at the same time,
Absolutely.
same place.
Same bat
channel.
time.
Same bat channel. Wow.
How does it feel?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of scary to be.
Scary?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just to be listening to yourself as you're going through here.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's all I've got. We've let us know what you think. If there's a section of the podcast that you're interested in that you like more than another part, send us a note. Let us know. Let us know what you're thinking. We're still trying to develop this, and we want to be talking about and creating things that you find interesting. So,
or to be honest, if you guys have like some sort of topic in mind that you would like to hear our opinions on or want us to discuss, let us know. We are always interested in what we always love to hear what you guys have to say. So if you've got a topic that you want us to talk about, let us know, and we will very good chance we'll talk about it.
That's right.
So,
Anyway, I'm Jim,
I'm Alex.
and this is the Old Warlock Podcast. Signing off for now. Keep your sword on free.
Bye-bye.